Hi. In this session, we are going to talk about part 2 whole relationship questions. These questions are not too frequent on SAT. Sometimes you see no question or sometimes you see one question in an English module. As the name suggests, these questions ask you to identify function of an underlined sentence in the overall structure of the passage. So you need to read the passage, understand the main idea of the passage, and then see how the underlined sentence functions in the overall structure of the passage. Let's see how to deal with these questions on the other side. So here is the structure question. The question says, which choice best describes the function of the underlined sentence in the text as a whole? So let's start with the text. Remember, you always have to read the text, the entire text. There is no skimming. The following text is from Edith Wharton's 1905 novel, The House of Mirth. Lily Bart and her companion are walking through a park. Lily had no real intimacy with nature, but she had a passion for the appropriate and could be keenly sensitive to a scene which was the fitting background of her own sensation. The landscape outspread below her seemed an enlargement of her present mood, and she found something of herself in its calmness, its breadth, its long free reaches. On the nearer slopes, the sugar maples wavered like pyres of light. Lower down was a massing of grey orchards, and here and there the lingering green of an oak grove. Okay, so the text can be divided into three parts here: the information before the underlined portion, information after the underlined portion, and the underlined portion. So the information before underlined part talks about Lily that she is not really intimate with the nature, but whenever she finds appropriate surroundings, she would connect to the nature. And then the next sentence is kind of giving an example of the same. It means the underlined sentence is providing explanation for her connection with the nature. Okay, so look at the first line here, first sentence. Lily had no real intimacy with nature, but she had a passion for appropriate and could be keenly sensitive to a scene which was the fitting background of her own sensation. And then we start explaining that part from the underlined sentence. So in short, you can say the underlined sentence, if you read it one more time, the landscape outspread below her seemed an enlargement of her present mood. So this is connecting back with her mood. So we are here, here we are connecting the environment or the landscape with her present mood. She found something of herself in its calmness, its breadth, its long free reaches. So again, connecting her mood with the surroundings. And the last part says, on the nearer slopes, the sugar maples wavered like pyres of light. Again, connecting to the points here. So let's look at the answer choices. What we identified, the underlined portion is kind of, let's put it down in simple terms. Let's say provides explanation for the earlier statement. Okay, so wherever possible, always make sure you note down your answer so that elimination becomes easier. So option A says it creates a detailed image of the physical setting of the scene. Now, this looks pretty close, but if you look at the sentence one more time, it is not giving you detailed image. Detailed image is coming after the underlined portion where we are talking about slopes, the sugar maple wavered like pyres of light. So being very, very specific here. So details. Lower down was missing grey orchards. Again, being very specific here. Whereas the underlined portion is just making a general statement. So it is not giving any specific details. That makes our option A as the wrong one. first option A is crossed out. Option B says it establishes that a character is experiencing an internal conflict. This one can be clearly crossed out because we don't see any conflict in the underlined statement. So option B is wrong as well. Option C says it makes an assertion that the next sentence then expands on it. Now, this looks again very close because the last sentence of the passage is actually expanding on the second sentence, that is the underlined sentence. But the problem is the underlined sentence is not making an assertion. The assertion comes the sentence before that. So option C is wrong as well. That leaves us with option D, which says it illustrates an idea that is introduced in the previous sentence. So previous sentence makes a statement, as we have written in our answer. The previous sentence makes a statement and the underlined sentence provides an explanation that matches with illustrates an idea. Okay, so right answer for us has to be option D. Right? So this is the way you can deal with the part to hood relationship questions. Remember, the wrong answers, as we have seen in option C, will bring in something that is there in the text but not supported by the passage, similar to option A, which is actually completely supported by the text. The last sentence does that, but not for the underlined portion. And these are the ways you can have to attempt these part to hood relationship questions.